Today. I hope everybody's doing well. First things first, my name is Kenneth Bird. My company is ILEG Technology Screens. We're building this. I had a few people asking me, why are we building this? So we're putting this together because this involves a screen, some technology we've been working on. So we're just building this tiny house, but then the tiny house started into other stuff. So I may be building a few of these things just for hobby sake, just for doing something for our hobby. And I have to say, it is really hard to do these videos, and I'll tell you why. Because with this whole thing, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm taken care of. I'm good. But I feel sorry for other people that are not taken care of and not going to be doing too well because of this government. I am good gracious, man. In my 57 years of being on this planet, this is the worst I've ever seen when it comes down to our country. This is the worst I've ever seen. Unbelievable how they have treated the American people. You know, it's just awful. It's downright awful. It is. It's awful. You know, all this craziness could have been avoided if they didn't vote that guy into office. If Trump was never voted into office, this craziness would have happened. Any president we've ever had. We've had some craziness, yes we have. Not saying all were goody two-shoe, they weren't. But no one came close to this. No one ever came close to this. The only people get offended by what I'm saying are people who voted that guy in here to begin with. You're building at 200, no, actually it's way higher than that now. 200 and something $million. I think it's 200. It was 230. No, he was asking for 230 bucks. He thought he should be paid 230 bucks. 230 million. That ballroom is roughly almost $300 million. $300 million for that ballroom. And you have people out here now that are trying to survive, and you want to build a ballroom at that much money. And this shows you at the end of the day, when I tell you that, I don't know, I just disconnected from all of it because it's just messed up on so many levels. But you know what? I've watched the Trump supporters and they're ranting and screaming and yelling about how they feel they were cheated. You didn't go through this mess the first time. Wasn't enough for you. You had to go again the third time around. And then they're talking about how they're mad because now their neighbors and friends and family, whatever, at the end of the day, who, again, you guys have got up there and you ranted and screamed and to everybody that they were losers and they were jokes at the end of the day, that you had the best choice and the best choice was Trump. And you screamed and yelled about that. You made yourself known. And then now look, stabbed everybody in the back. Stabbed farmers in the back. Stabbed everybody in the back. He don't need you. He don't need you because he don't need your votes anymore. He played nice with you. That's what he did. He played you. And now you're getting the outcome of it. But the thing about it, everybody's getting the outcome of it all. Everybody's getting that. Everybody's getting hit with that. Everybody. So, it's messed up. And you got to think at the end of the day, how evil do you have to be of a person who knows that there are kids that are going to go hungry? There are babies that are going to go hungry. How heartless can one be to, Congress is still getting paid, by the way, that you're going to go on vacation, go on a trip, enjoy the luxury of life, and there are people that may not have the ability to feed their babies. That's not a human being at the end of the day. I'm sorry, that's not a human being. That's not even considered human in any way whatsoever. No way in the world that's human in any way whatsoever. But for the Trump supporters sitting there screaming and yelling on YouTube about, I'm sick and tired of people saying it's our fault. It is your fault. I watched thousands of you out there that day when they elected them in. I watched you out there. I watched you out there talked about how he was the best president in the entire world. You didn't get enough from the whole COVID incident nonsense we went through with him. And then you sit there and turn around and you vote him right back in. Now you're sitting all shocked and surprised on YouTube like, I didn't think you would do something like this. So it's your fault. It is. It's your fault. Whether you believe it or not, it's your fault. Got federal workers. They're not getting paychecks. You got military not getting paychecks. This is messed up. And they want to sit there and blame Democrats. It's everybody. I don't care. It's everybody. It's the Democrats. It's the Republicans. It's Trump. It's everybody. Because in the long run, I don't care if you people want to sit there. Well, it's one side. At the end of the day, they're getting paid. We're not getting paid. These tariffs and all this stuff, this affects people's companies. It affected my company big time. My company wants to do some nonsense over those tariffs. It affects everybody. Everything he's done has affected everybody. One way or another has affected people. And the only people who benefited from this is people that are wealthy. That's it. Because what do they have to worry about? So yeah, it's messed up. This is the worst president of all times. The worst. It'll go down in history being the worst president of all times. And do you know there's funding? There's funding. There's backup funding put aside to help in situations. They won't touch it. They won't touch it because they want it for themselves. That's why. So, unfortunately, the American people will have to suffer until he comes out of office. That's what's going to happen. And the people who voted him in, those Trump supporters, at the end of the day, this is your fault. And you can sit there and say, oh, yeah, it's your fault. I sat out there with thousands of you out there bragging and talking, oh, yeah, he's going to be president. Oh, high and mighty. I'll see you out there doing it now. Now you got them up there on the news talking about how they're burning their hats and they're burning their flags and they don't want nothing to do with them. Too late, 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 too late. Damage is already here. Got a little pride going on in the Senate that neither party wants to basically vote on anything whatsoever. So, the worst of it all is kids. You got to think about kids and babies. What about them? And they can't even fend for themselves. What about them? But these guys don't care. It makes me sick that these people are on vacation. They went on vacation, and they're still getting paid while there are kids that could possibly go hungry in this ordeal. How in the world can you live with yourself knowing that a child may not eat or an infant may cry in starvation? How do you live with yourself with that? How? And as you Trump supporters, mind you, fantastic future you set for your kids. You made an amazing future for your kids. Look at the future you built for your kids. Whoever comes in, and people are talking about Carson Harris, or whatever her name is, I think it is, yeah. They're just still talking. She would have made a much better president. Anybody would have made a much better president. Heck, a freaking toucan with a suit would have made a much better president. Anybody. You want to go on about Biden? Neither one of the presidents in the day did a great job, but at least they weren't worse as this one. Biden would have been far better. We would have went through this mess at the end of the day. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. Guarantee you. Any one of them would have been better. Any one of them would have been better. How are we working out with our allies? Our allies don't like us. We need allies. At the end of the day, we need them. Believe it or not, we need allies. We have to have allies. Do you understand the whole purpose? I talked to somebody, I swear, some of you Trump supporters, I had to say it today. Y'all ignorant. Y'all are very ignorant. And I'll tell you why. You don't understand how things function in life, and you really don't. And I'll tell you why. I'm sorry to make this video about this, but I got to get something off my chest. I got to get off my chest. It is what it is. But anyway, we need allies. So say there's a war going over way over here, right? I'm talking about the sport. And we need a base here. You know why that base is there? So those fighters can get from here to there faster to save those troops. If we don't have a base here, that means they have to launch them from way back there, which means by the time they get there, critical lives can be lost. That's why when we make allies, we can put bases in those areas that basically can potentially get us closer to areas to save troops. On top of that, trade agreements, all that comes in. We don't manufacture our own stuff. Do you have any idea how long it would take for us to be able to be on that level to manufacture our own stuff? We have done so much where a lot of these big companies started doing their business overseas because it was cheaper. You can't just pull the rug out and just start doing that off from the door. It causes a ripple effect. The price will go up on everything. Like with NVIDIA cards, it'll shoot to the roof because we don't manufacture it. It costs too much money to manufacture it. That's why it was made over there, because it's cheaper. But we try to manufacture them here, it's going to cost us too much money. This is something that has to be done through gradually. That's why everything went through the roof. And the thing about the beef farmers, well, again, they go to Patron, and you get what you pay for. They have to understand, and they don't have to understand, but the point is that the reason why meat's so expensive because this whole tariff nonsense that went on, he did to make everything go through the roof. And then he's going to turn around and say that, well, we want to make things more affordable. Well, things would have been more affordable if you didn't launch tariffs to begin with. That would have helped to begin with right there. But now let's make things affordable. Let's just cut out all the farmers and screw all them over and just go over and buy meat from over here. I'm not eating that meat. I'm not touching it. I'm becoming a vegetarian because I'm not eating that. I'm not touching it. I'm sorry. American beef, that's the only thing I'm eating. It's not American, I ain't touching it. And people say, well, they got meat imported. Yeah, they do got meat imported, but I got a choice. I got a choice whether I want American or I want imported. But this is not going to be a choice now. So, even though they got what they deserve, because some of them did, most of them did vote for them. Just like these truckers for Trump. Remember you guys in the day? I seen you guys coming through, your trucks and all that. 600 of y'all got laid off. You're getting fired left and right. There you go. But that's what you voted for. And this is the reason why I'm glad that I put my faith in Jesus at the end of the day. I don't put my faith in man. I don't put my faith in man. I don't put my faith in man. Times like this, I don't put my faith in man. I put my faith in God. God still blesses us to have orders come in. God blesses us to have the food on our table that's needed. God blesses me to have my bills paid. That's why I put my faith in God. I don't put my faith in no man. No whatsoever. Man lies, cheats, steals, robs. God can't do any of those things. But it hurts me at the end of the day that I know that there's going to be kids out there that may not have a meal or may skip a meal, and some senators up there enjoying some fancy dinner while someone is sitting there starving or doesn't have food, and they're still getting paid. They need to pass a law. If anything, the government shuts down, they don't get paid. Their vacations, all that stuff cancels out. If you're not on the clock, why should you get paid? None of us do. You go to your job, you don't work, you don't get paid. So why is it different for them? Oh, because they get salary. No, cut that salary nonsense out. They don't show up, they don't get paid. Now, you get some people out there not going to like what I said because, you're hardcore Trump supporters. I couldn't care less. I really don't. And if you're on my channel, you're a Trump supporter, you shouldn't be here because I don't support you anyway whatsoever. So I would do me a big favor, get off my channel, please, because I don't support Trump. We don't even sell to you guys. We don't sell paint to Trump supporters. Any form of our technology does not go to you. If your business is from it, we pull everything. We don't want nothing to do with you. I don't. I'm not a fan of it. I had a customer who was a Trump supporter. I gave him back his money. And just like that, yeah, just like that. Take it. That's your business. Nothing you got, I want. Goodbye. And I love how they sit there and say, well, without what? Without what? Without your business? Man, that don't mean jack to me. I serve God. That don't mean nothing to me at the end of the day. If you're going to sit there and tell me that all your supporters combined together will make me lose my business, I serve God at the end of the day. The one I serve makes sure that the blood pumps through your veins at the end of the day to keep your heart going. That's the one I serve at the end of the day. The one that's the keeper of life and death. That's who I serve at the end of the day. Your galaxy, this world, everything in it whatsoever, that's who I serve. Good luck. Because I have a problem, I can kneel before him and pray before him and tell him my problem, and my Lord will see it through. And God says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. So that doesn't mean nothing to me. I've heard those threats many times before from companies and people I did not choose to do business with because I did not like their point of view. And the first thing they'll say is, oh, I work for so-and-so. Good for you. Good for you that you work for so-and-so and so. I could not care less. I serve God. I don't serve you and do not fear anything you have to say. Do my banisters. But anyway, I just feel that at the end of the day, that's absolutely horrible. You know, saying you were American actually had some weight to it. Ain't got no weight to it no more. Destroyed and watered down. And it's everybody. It's not just them. It's freaking federal. They're not getting paid. They don't care. They don't care. They do not care. Only people they only care about at the end of the day, as long as their pockets get filled with money, that's all they care. And it's never enough. It's never enough. Never enough for them. Never enough. Always got to have more. Collecting on something you can't even take with you when you pass off this earth. Can't take it with you. I'm going to get my whatchamacallit out of the way. I don't want to taint my ocean. I already did the windows already. There'll be light at the tunnel again. It will be. There will be light at the tunnel again. You know what's even messed up? Those Trump supporters gave him all that money. They gave him all that money for him to rip you off. That's what he did. Y'all gave him all that money in campaigns. He came with his own Bible. Y'all bought that. Sneakers. Y'all bought that. All kind of T-shirts. The woman said she paid. A woman worked for the federal government. She said she paid for T-shirts, hats, all that. Huge mass of Trump supporters. She got fired. She got terminated from her federal job. And now she's upset and angry. Upset and angry. She got terminated by her job and she's upset and angry. Yeah. If you didn't see that mess in the first term when he was carrying on and acting up, I don't know how in the world you could not have seen that. You know why? Because these are people that weren't affected by the first term. They weren't. Because they had more money than most people. They weren't really affected by it. And then their jobs got terminated, then they hit home. But nobody feels sorry for you because, you know, that's what you did. And I'm not saying all, no, not all. But that particular federal worker, yeah, she did vote for him. She said it on camera, she voted for him. Alright, I'm going to get back to my happy place, to my cottage. That's where I'm going. I hope it does work out for everybody. I really do. You know, all we can do is pray. Lord, to fix this problem. My heart's not in it to do videos or anything about my business is not in it right now. It isn't. I don't like the fact that people are going to go hungry. I don't like that. I really don't. That bothers me a lot. It really does. So I won't be doing any videos on any technology. I'm just painting my house in because it's something different. It's relaxing. You know what I mean? I can't do any videos right now. Any on no technology or anything whatsoever. This does involve technology, but I'm not thinking about that part. I just want to paint my house in and think about a happier place. And I got orders that came in. I'm taking care of my orders. I got y'all put orders in. Thank you so much. I appreciate and get you guys taken care of and get you out the door. You know, I feel like talking about the technology for a while until we come to some understanding on this mess. Had cut a hole inside to get to the moon window because it was just going to be too hard to be able to cut a piece of glass, or not glass but a plastic, to fit that moon window. That was just not going to happen. So I had to cut a hole in there. On top of that, we need light to transfer in there too, also too, so we can see. We're gonna have that window light up. So they're already done. Those pieces are done. They're over there. Got glow in the dark paint on them. Those are the windows that'll be going in. But I want to make sure we get the house painted up with it. Don't want to risk of bumping into the windows. So get the house painted up. Right now we're just doing the wood trim on the pier. And I still got to make the fishing rods, and I think I'm gonna make a little crab cage for catching crabs. That didn't sound right, but you know what I'm talking about. So like, oh, he's just catching crabs. No, that's not be jokes, Juice. No, that's talking about. So I'm looking at the blueprints for the windmill. We're definitely going to do a windmill, and we're going to build a clock tower with a working clock. The clock will be working in the clock for that one. It's going to have a spiral staircase. And I'm going to do a gypsy wagon. And we don't have to get the extra fine brushes. I have them right there laying down. So I did find the brushes. Once we get the windows done, and I have to coat the inside with the glow-in-the-dark fluorescent and install lights in, then we can put in the floor. The floor is sitting over there. So I have to give the floor kind of a wooden plank kind of look to it. I never realized that back in this era, they didn't have like, I mean, I should have known it from the door, but I just kind of had to look it up. They didn't have flat pieces of wood, like sheets of wood. Everything was done in planks. So, of course, we grabbed the wrong side of the brush. I'm going to do the banisters in a different color. That's the grab my hands off. Grab that brush on the wrong side. What do you do? This is just leftover paint I had from some jobs I was doing for the other PCs, and it's like this stuff will definitely work. So that's what we're using right now. So I have to go pick up some glue. This is not going to be black. This is going to be a different color. But gotta pick up some glue to finish the scenery. Taking our fine brush. Yeah, so once we get some other crazy projects, I should have to take a 3-liter bottle and turn that into a cyberpunk capsule, which are actually pretty cool to do. You can make them yourself. Your own cyberpunk capsule design with lights and all that stuff, furniture, all that stuff. It's the water brush. Yeah, meow. What up with your meows? And we do this part of the house. This is going to glow. All this is going to glow. So we're going to have some of it spilling over just a little bit. Gives it kind of interesting look to it. This is going to involve some caulking because we have to put some caulking in to get that kind of drip look to it. Not too much, but just enough. We want a little bit of flowers growing out of the house. And those flowers all glow in the dark. So even the mossy vine, the moss and the vines are going to have a little bit of glow to it. And these right here, I got to go back over in blue because they're going to be in the water. So still got to go back over that in blue. So, but I'm just going to go right now. Just the bottom parts have to be in blue. I'm going to have to take this bottom half right here, which I can't show on camera, take it to my buddy's shop so we can do the water scene. And that stuff right there is kind of strong. I'm definitely not doing it in here. So I'm definitely going to be at another location to do that at. But I can't show up that location. I will be over there doing that job, getting that part done. I'll take some little, well, we can't even take pictures over there either. And the reason why, we all know why. We all know why we can't do that. Sorry, but you know, we've had some people on our channel do some weird stuff. They like to stalk people, weirdos. So we can't show you that part. Wow. Not worry if I nick something or not, because all that has to be painted over. I just want to get my trim. I'm not worried about that. If I nick something. The reason why we're using this brush because we can get in those little areas that I cannot get into if I use a regular brush. Will not reach those areas that I want to. So I can't get in there. That's why we use a little tiny French brush or extra fine brush because we can get into those little areas quite nicely. All this is going to have to be cast in black because black is great because black causes it give you shadows. We still got to go back over and add shadows. Definitely going to have to toss some shadows in there. Excuse me. You know, sitting there like thinking like I saw these birthdays with these long handles. Like, what the freak these long handles are for? I'm like, oh, I kind of figure out now what they're for now. Get into the hard spaces. Go. Put it everywhere. I figure I need a couple of baskets on the side of the house, so I am probably going to get some little well, actually got a couple of little caps around here. I'm going to wrap some nice twine around and some rope to make it look like it's actually made out of a basket. Twine around it, give it a nice look to it. And make our baskets. You know, give the chimney a more realistic look to it. We'll use some caulking and a piece of cardboard, and we're going to give it a kind of a stucco job. The chimney. So do that, and kind of white. We're going to add a little brown to it. And our bricks are going to be done in a kind of a dark red, a little black in it. This is where we're going to be putting our nest for our birds. We'll be buying those crops. I was looking at some of the other builds. Pretty nice, very, very nice. Some of the builds for the cottages we were doing. Armor tweezers. Strings of glue up here. This is a rickety chimney. I looked at several different ones on how people did them. I decided to go with this design. A rickety chimney. Ah, that's my windows. All of them? Everything else? Let's see. Big window. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you got it right there. So windows are painted with the fluorescent so they glow. So the windows go even more higher. I'm gonna make it like this actually someone actually live in there. So we have to make the windows so they glow. Well, some people may not like my design here, but you know, like I said, to each his own. I do like it, and that's all that matters. That's why I tell you, young artists out there, if someone doesn't like your work, who cares? You like it? That's all that matters. All that matters that you like it. Never any take anybody, let me take away your happiness. This is what you enjoy to do, then you keep on doing it. If they don't like it, then that's their problem at the end of the day. Who cares? I go like to the art museum. Everybody's got a different opinion on how they see art. I mean, people say, "Well, I went to school for it." No, that's good. No, that's great. But you're not going to tell me that your opinion is the only way to see it. That's what makes art special. Everybody sees it differently. So you learn when you paint the fruit. The object of that exercise is that everybody sees it differently. Yours is not supposed to like his, and his is not supposed to like yours. Everybody's supposed to be different. That's what makes art unique. I was looking at Mr. Rogers. Not that Rogers. Mr. Rogers that came on PBS. He was a minister. He was a minister. He was a minister. Captain Noah. They're all Christians. Captain Noah was Christian. Captain Kangaroo was Christian. They were all Christian men. That's a beautiful thing right there. They were all Christian men. You know, they're home. They went home. They went home to see God. They're home. They're all Christian men. I knew Mr. Rogers was. I knew Mr. Rogers was a minister. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that at all. That doesn't make a difference. We got a paint in there anyway. Now, if that was already done and I did that, that'd have been jacked up. But no, we're doing trim work. Trim work would be a little more difficult than that right there. That's probably easier. But we try not to do it too much. Morgan Freeman was on the electric company. I remember that. Imagine that. Morgan Freeman on the electric company. Prince was on Sesame Street. Oh my goodness. You got to watch that one. That's hilarious. The one Prince did on Sesame Street is hilarious. It's not, you would never believe it. He did hee-haw, kind of a hee-haw. He's a farmer. And he had an alligator that he claimed that was a puppy. Oh, that is hilarious. My sister told me about that. I had to watch it myself. It's hilarious. It's another side of Prince you don't see too much of. He has a crazy sense of humor. It was hilarious to watch. About the puppy alligator. You got to watch it. Look it up on YouTube. Prince on Sesame Street and puppy alligator. You'll be crying laughing. And Prince actually played basketball too. I looked that up too. He played basketball. He was very good too. Very, very good at basketball. Which is interesting, right? He don't look like a basketball player. He just really doesn't. But he can run. He can play ball. He can play. Just like music more. This reminds me of Dungeon Defenders too. The hillside. Those houses they have over on the hillside. All right. Getting a little area over here done. I'm curious. These houses were already intended, or of course somebody had to build them. I guess they're passed down from generation to generation. I could imagine so, because you had to build your house back then. You couldn't go buy it. But I wonder if they had houses out there that you did buy, like someone had an old a house that, or a shed or something out there. Did people purchase those houses? How did they buy them? Well, how did real estate? I mean, did they barter? Did they do like trade off so much of this and that? Now I'm curious. So anytime I build something like this, then I start researching the history on it. And I mean, how they built them, how they put them together, stuff like that. So I'm always curious about how they did it all. I watch a lot of documentaries. I watched one on basically how people stayed warm in those particular centuries. So it was interesting how people survived then. So it's interesting when you think about it. Like our era now, we're descendants from different eras. We are. If you go back and trace your family history, you'll find out you're descended from different eras. You have to be. If that entire bloodline was cut off, we wouldn't be existing right now. It had to start somewhere. It didn't just pop up and appear here. It had to come from somebody's bloodline from back then. Somebody's ancestor we came from. It didn't just pop up here. So if the entire 1800 was completely wiped out, there'd just be no more people. I mean, just say all over the entire globe, everything was gone. So you had to come from somewhere. That's why you trace back oh, I'm from England. No, I'm from so-and-so. I'm from here. I'm from there. Like, wow, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know I had ancestors in that particular region. It's pretty interesting. Find out your royalty. That's what happened to that woman on the Antique Roadshow who was out there digging up potatoes with a spoon that belonged to Henry VIII. That was a bit of a shocker right there for them. Because at one point the museum was going to say, hey, well, we can take it because technically it's history and we can take it from you. They're giving no money for them. They found out they were ancestors from Henry VIII. I was like, whoa. So imagine the entire time you had royal blood in your body. Send us from somewhere. So that's interesting to find out. So that was a great story right there. That's why I say a lot of people have antiques and don't know what they're worth because you don't know the value of them. You're looking at something staring you right in the face all day long, every day, and you would never know it's worth millions of dollars. That's what I liked about that Antique Roadshow. People go in there and wouldn't even know that half the stuff they had sitting up in that attic somewhere is worth a lot of money. Yeah, it's been a delight because now I can see little areas that I definitely missed in my wood trim over here, which I'm going to be taking a little brush. These little corners in here. Missed all up in here. Definitely missed from there and there. But down there, didn't get that either. Missed all that. For some people think at the end of the day, well, you hate the Trump supporters? I don't hate anybody. I don't. I'm giving the devil that satisfaction. I told y'all that from the door. But they have to understand you triggered that one. That's your fault. You triggered it. Are you to be hated for it? No. Should you be forgiven for it? Yes. Everybody has the right to be forgiven. If you're gonna sit there at the end of the day and say, "Oh, they don't need to be forgiven," then you don't need to be forgiven either. For the simple things that you might do, mind you, we're all guilty of sin. We're all worthy of death. We're all guilty of sin. Not one man on this planet can't say that I'm worthy to go to heaven. You can't. Your body is cursed. We're all worthy of death. The only reason why we're still here and functioning because God's good grace. Other than that, we'd be gone by now. So you have to understand that if the Lord can come down here and hang himself on a cross, especially for people that he knows are not going to appreciate what he has done, then how much more you should be able to forgive somebody else for what they've done to you. You got to, when people say at the end of the day, well, you got to take people to court. People got to go to court. Law is the law. Law of the land. They got it. That's how it's done. But do you hate these people? No, you don't. Yeah. I do forgive them for what they have done. I do. But at the end of the day, they gotta face their sins at the end of the day. They're gonna have to face those sins at the end of the day. You know what I mean? A lot of them are coming forth and say, "Hey, we messed up, made a mistake, so on and so forth." That doesn't give you the right to hate them. Don't give you the right to hate anybody. Wish they would have saw things a little bit more clearer. You had all that power. There was so many of y'all. You had all that power. And you wasted it. You could have did something better with it. But, lesson now well learned. Well, they learned it the first time. I don't know what's going on with that one. Hopefully they learn. People brainwashed, something like that. I remember seeing the post on my Facebook account, and it showed Trump on his knees, and somebody said, "Lord, please protect this man." I'm like, and now it's the same person now on YouTube screaming and yelling how they don't know how they're going to survive. Same farmers who got ripped off and thought they were going to get great deals and stuff. He's going to hook you guys up and gave you great deals, contracts and everything, and did y'all dirty. Trump is about money. He's not about y'all. Y'all thought he was y'all come up there and hug y'all on your bed. He's not about y'all. You don't make enough money. You got to make money to be his friend. But he knew you guys would buy anything. Anything he put out there, he knew you go buy it. You'll buy it. You'll fund anything he wants you to fund. He put out there, and you guys will buy it. He used you. That's pretty much what he did. Now, look what he's doing. He don't care about y'all because he don't need your vote anymore because this is his last term in. And all that whole third term thing, that's not happening. Sorry, but that's not going to happen. He don't have that. He's going to try to change the rules. You can't change the rules. Like he tried to change the Constitution. How well did that work out for him? It didn't work out for him at all because you can't do that. You don't get no third term. That's it. You're done. After that, you're out. Anybody else coming in to be president, it's going to be a landslide. They're going to easily get voted in. Because the reason why, he did his own people dirty. He did his own supporters dirty. So now you see. So it's going to be a landslide. He knows it's going to be a landslide. He knows he's going to lose. But, again, he can't vote anyway. He can't go back in. You can't have a third term. So that's done. But you see the difference in change? You see the difference in change for the supporters? You see the change? You see how he was nice to you? Because he knew he needed your vote to get back in? If he did anything like he did just now in his first term, you think you would have brought him back in? No, you wouldn't have. He played nice with you. And now look, he turned on you. Yeah. I have no idea why people who have that type of money, as old as they are, he's not a young man anymore. He's like 80-something years old. We don't. Again, like I said, we don't live on the earth that long. So consider the fact that you can't take any of that money with him. He ain't taking any of it with him. I don't know why people stockpile money at that particular time. You ain't taking anything with you. I just want to stay here, unless he believes he's got some kind of reincarnation, but that doesn't work. People have been trying to, stars and people with great money have been trying to do that one for years and for centuries, and that's just not going to happen. You only get a short amount of time here in this world, and then that's it. And people believe that there's nothing on the other side. You think you want to be wrong about that one? That's why you got people that are on death row right before they're about to be executed. They get a preacher to come in there and pray over them because they don't know what's waiting for them and they don't want to be wrong. What if I'm wrong? What if there is purgatory waiting for me over there? I don't want to be wrong about that. So, yeah, they get somebody to pray over something. But sad to say, that's not going to be enough. You have to have 100% belief that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior. That's the only way you can be accepted into the kingdom of heaven. You must believe that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior. That's the only way you're getting in. And the sad thing about it is that Jesus talks about how the rich, it's difficult for them to inherit the kingdom of heaven. He talks about it, how the rich have a difficult time getting in. Because of the rich man who spoke to Jesus and told him how he practiced the Sabbath and he did all these things. And then Jesus said, walk away from your riches, pick up your cross and follow me. And he walked away sad because he had great wealth and he didn't want to give it up. Because their wealth becomes their God. That's why. So he said it's easier for a camel to enter into an eye of a needle. Imagine that. That's a slim chance of getting in. That's a very slim chance for a rich man to get in. That a camel has an easier time entering into an eye of a needle. It's bad to get. It's hard to get thread through there. A camel, a whole camel, easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to inherit the kingdom of heaven. That's some serious stuff right there. That's serious. That's very serious. When you're talking about God's making that statement. God is Jesus. Jesus is God. Yep. So that's a very serious statement to make. And how difficult it is. So can't buy your way into heaven. Don't work that way. Can't do all these good deeds like I donated money to charity. I did all these good. That don't work. That won't help you. I gave to the church millions of money. It won't help you. I ain't gonna give money to God. God is the one who actually is money, made money. All these things were on this earth before us. Gold, diamonds. Question. I'm curious. Who made the diamond expensive? Like who started off by saying that a rock like a diamond? Because you got to consider the fact that the Indians were around gold all the time. It had no value to them. They didn't see it as value. It didn't have any value to them. Oh, there's a shiny rock over there, or whatever, to use as a paperweight or whatever, like Alf. You know, they had no value for it whatsoever. So when did all this become valuable? When did diamonds and rubies all become valuable? Because at the end of the day, you know what I mean, to the natives who actually lived in those particular parts where these things were abundant, they were just rocks. Decoration, that's all they were. But who made these decisions? Because no one made these decisions. Diamond, just be a diamond, just be another rock you find on the ground. Someone made it of value. If not, nothing would be of value. Money wouldn't be, it'd be no value. It'd be right back to the old-fashioned ways of bartering. You know, trading in pigs and horses and whatever for what you wanted. Or labor, whatever it may be. That's what it would be. Who just came along and said, hey, this rock right here, yeah, this thing's going to be worth $1 million. I got to look that up now. Now I got to go research that. I'm curious why. All that got started. Can you imagine if you had a bunch of those things laying around in your home, like you're just picking up these shiny rocks, you know what I mean? Well, of course, it takes a while for diamonds to compress to be a diamond, but you just had all these piles of gold, boxes, and freaking barrels of gold, shiny rocks you found, not realizing you have gold on your hands. Okay, we just use these for basically just decorations. That's all it is. Like, you do know what that is, right? What is it? That's gold. That's like on Alf. On Alf, if you ever saw the episode of Alf, when Alf came to Earth, on this planet, styrofoam is worth a lot of money. And gold and diamonds and all that stuff ain't worth. They're just junk. That's junk on our planet. But styrofoam is worth a lot of money. So when he saw them unboxing something, pull out a big piece of styrofoam and throw it in their head, what are you doing? Do you know how much money this is worth? And they were like, it's just styrofoam. At the end of the day, he said, on this planet, styrofoam is worth as much as what we have diamonds and golds down here. But when he came down here, he bought a big, huge brick of gold with him because he used it as a paperweight. And when the father came in and saw it, he was like, is that real? Is that what I think? He said, yeah, it is real. It's a big old rock. He said, that's gold. Down here, gold's worth a lot of money. That's why he bought the Ferrari. It's on the phone, speeding at 100 miles an hour, talking on the phone. It's funny how interesting it is. Styrofoam is considered to be money on his planet. And we throw away styrofoam every day. And that's considered to be on this planet worth a lot. So if Alf ever went home, we just stock up on a bunch of styrofoam because nobody would want it. You know what I mean? And he just go back to the planet and get rich. Rich on this planet. I'm trying to figure out that theory behind Alf. I forgot how he got here. Something that happened, he got here. He crash landed here. Yeah, no one lands on Earth. Did you know that? No alien lands here. They just crash on our planet. Or E.T., E.T. crashed on the planet. He did. No, he was left behind. E.T. was left behind. Sorry about that. My bad. E.T. was left behind by his parents. So they didn't technically crash. Close Encounter of the Third Kind didn't crash. This is my favorite movie of all time. Forgot the glass and everything. This means something. With the mashed potatoes, this means something. And it's going to be okay because God has control of all things. That's why I don't worry. I try to put in God's hands. He has control over all things in life. Gotta have faith in God. I used to watch a show called Masterpiece Theater. Came on Channel 12. Along with Doctor Who. Doctor Who. Masterpiece Theater. My mom got me watching all that stuff. Musicals and plays and all that stuff. She got me watching all that stuff. Question: what was Mary Poppins? Mary Poppins was definitely not human. So what was she? There's no theory on what Mary Poppins was. It doesn't talk about what she is. But what was Mary Poppins? She was definitely good. So what was she? Now, Fantasy Island, when I found out about that, I was kind of shocked on that one because I was really shocked. I didn't know he was a fallen angel, which that was kind of confusing. Because he did fight the devil from time to time. The devil popped up on his strip trying to make trouble for him. If you remember those back in the day, if you were around that time, watching the Love Boat, Fantasy Island. Still was an amazing show. Fantasy Island, and you have the Love Boat. I remember watching Chips. Oh man, tell me that freaking that bass solo guitar they had, everything. Oh man, he was getting it in. He was getting it in. Music back then was actually better, man. I noticed that when I listen to music, when I walk around and listen to the music was longer. It was much on record. It was much longer, much longer. You got that freaking uh, um, what was it called? I forgot the name of it, man. That solo they had in between. But anyway, they had this long set in between. You know what I mean? I forget the name of it. It'll come to me later on. But anyway, yeah, music was as much that side one, side two, flip over for side one. But yeah, and you got the record covers and all that stuff. But man, they had that bass guitar and that guitar solo. Yeah, the solo it was getting it in with that solo. It was getting it in with that solo. And it always start off with an accident. An accident would just start out of nowhere. You're riding down the road and somebody do something crazy and have an accident. They pop up out of nowhere. And I like how they do the intro. They point at the tire, then they point at the boot, then they point at the badge, then they point at the helmet, then the glasses, and the whole bike. They pan out. That was basically the classic effect. And the way they did it that pan out. It just shows them driving down the highway. California Highway Patrol. I don't know what happened to Cali. Cali in the 60s, 70s, and even it's back in back in the 50s and the 60s. You know, a little different, much different. They went to California to basically that was a place to be at. Fred Astaire, Frank Sinatra, all those guys as Hollywood stars back in the day. They would go to over to California. Palm trees, warm weather, surfing, sailing. That was a big thing. Leave the city, go to California. Summer winds come blowing in from across the sea. Remember there to touch your hair and walk with me. Yeah, Frank Sinatra. Wish I could have got a chance to see him live. That would have been nice. Dad listened to Frank Sinatra. That's how I found out about Frank Sinatra, because he listened to Frank Sinatra all the time. Yeah, back in Hollywood at that time, you had to be to do it all. You had to be to sing, you had to be to dance, you had to play a musical instrument. You had to do it all. You had to do it all. That's why you look at a lot of those actors, they tap dance. You had to do it all. Acting, dancing, singing, all of it. He does it all. Yep. Sammy Davis Jr., tap dancing. Fred Astaire, tap dancing. All of them can tap dance. Frank Sinatra, tap dance. Yep. You had to be to do it all. Dean Martin, tap dance. Even, what's his name? Jerry, I can't think of his name too on top. It's on the tip of my tongue too. Jerry Lewis. All of them can tap dance, because that was the thing. You had to do it all. You know, Will Ferrell tap dances. He can tap dance. Yep. I know how to tap dance. That was a big thing at one point, tap dancing. Alright, let me see, with the trimming the door. Got that done right there. Trimming the door is done. I'm sure I got any paint on me. I'm wearing black today. I usually attract it all the time. Let me see. So I'm good with that. Oh, it's right there. I'm gonna put a flag out here too. Our banner, more like a banner. A banner, what we're gonna dub the house. Here's the whimsical cottage. Oh, Lucky Lake. That's what we're gonna call the whatchamacallit. The lake is gonna be the Lucky Lake. Lucky Lake. Guarantee to catch a fish at the Lucky Lake. Only thing is you can't fish at night. You don't want to fish at night. So why? You'll figure it out. You'll find out. Just do not fish. Lake's enchanted. Just don't fish at night. Fish in the morning. Don't fish at night. In there. Oh, you're in there, just don't want to come under, do you? Come on. Don't fight me. I see you on there. There you are. I do see you. Where are you? And I don't do God's way. I say God's way. I do like this song. Ain't that right, Taco? Round. Round. What is that? Round. Just he doesn't even America's growl. It's a growl he does. Not being mean, that's what he does. It's a growl. Just growl. There we go. Got a nice little round trim put in there. Now once all that's in, we got to do a dry brush job on it because that's what gives it a kind of more of a rusted look to it. Kind of an old look to it. A little dark, a little brown, a little brown, a little dark. Let me do a dry brush job, which we're going to do later on. And that gives it that wood, makes it look realistic. Right now we're just coating everything. And just get that part done. Shingles are going to be interesting. The shingles, all the trim on the shingle outside had to be done in black. All right, let's get our sign here. And we got something here that's bugging the daylight out of me. I think it's more of a look to it. Get our side done. Wow, wow, wow. Your battle cry? I'm wearing black today. Back up a little bit, please. I don't want to hear all over me. Thank you. You're a monster. Got a nice little sign put up there. Oh, forgot about that. We got a chimney here, right? We need firewood. Definitely need firewood for our chimney. So that little section right there would be nice for a little stack of firewood right over there. Because it's going to have to keep warm. Definitely got to keep warm. So we got to get a stack of firewood in there. So these are props that we can buy, little props you can buy for our stacks of firewood. Or we can make them ourselves with a little, couple of little small short pegs. Turn that into wood. I think I'm probably going to make it instead of buy it. The more stuff I make, the less stuff, I have to depend on being able to buy it. So that's where that comes out better. Ain't that right, Taco? Taco, you gonna help me make the giant catapult? Gotta make a giant catapult. Well, not a big one, but we need a catapult for the next build, which involves our dragon. Or we're gonna do the dragon. Wait, first we gotta finish the rest of the clock tower and all that stuff. Have to finish first. And we can the dragon prop done ahead of time and put to the side. Well, it's more like God's way. That's how it all starts anyway. Sent a picture to my friend. She's 4'11". I was like, hey, tiny lady, I got a house for you. She said, yeah, funny, real funny. It's a tiny little house. We're chilling here in our tiny house. Why did you get time to build that? Over the weekend, I was kind of working on a tiny house for something. They built me a tiny little house. I gotta look at the research on what was the purpose of gargoyles. I think gargoyles were there to frighten off evil spirits, I think it was. Same thing like the whole theory behind jack-o'-lanterns. To frighten off evil spirits. I think that's what gargoyles were for. Some hideous things they have sitting on a church. These areas we forget to get because it's under. Paint this in. I see the guy who actually owns this house out here doing the paint job himself. He's doing all the paint work on it. Yep, just put me another coat on. Make sure make it look nice. So when we do the windmill's going to have a lot of wood on it. So this is going to be a lot of painting to get that done. It's going to have a lot of wood on it. That windmill, it's going to be interesting. So it's not going to be like a wheel. No, this is going to have a lot of parts on it, a lot. So we have to make this thing look realistic. So it's going to look really interesting. It's going to be a windmill house. So it's going to have a house on the side of it with a windmill. And we're going to make some rushing water coming off the side of it. All with the company of silicone. Silicone. And silicone is magic. Works out fantastic for anything you want to do. Put the under the pier. I'm gonna do some fishing rods with some string. So that we're gonna basically embed into the silicone, the string, some fish underneath there. So there's some fish there underneath that silicone. And some of you suggest epoxy. No, I can't be around epoxy. Epoxy will mess me up. They're gonna put me in the hospital. It's too strong for me. That'll mess me up. I can't do epoxy. It would be nice, but I can't do it. I have to do something else. I would do the silicone instead. Silicone's even strong too. That's why I'm doing that at my friend's place over there. Oops, got to get this all sucked into here. Well, now you know when we get to the elections for the House, don't vote Republican. Don't do that. Don't lock it up like that again. Don't vote for them. And as for Democrat, if there's anyone coming up that's better than them, vote for them, because some of those Democrats didn't do their job either. This is your chance. All the bull crap that we all had to go through. And I'm a person that doesn't vote, but I am voting on this one. You darn straight I am. All the bull crap you just went through, this is your chance now. This is your opportunity to get your voices heard. Because they want to come to the town hall and they want to talk a bunch of mumbo jumbo, hit them where it hurt. Go in there and vote. You can vote them out and get rid of them. We're the ones who have that power at the end of the day. It's our vote that's the reason why they're there. Without our vote, they're not there. So you have to consider that. This is when we get our power back. I'm showing up. I am definitely going to be there. They already started the early voting. As soon as I find out where we're going to have it down here in Allentown, I'm going to be here to get it done. Definitely not voting Republican. Oh, heck no. But you know, you'll have some idiot out there after going through all the brutal nonsense will get there and vote for Republican. But you know, that's what they do. Those people do that. Nope. Mm-mm. Not today, buddy. Not today. Oh, the wood boards come out nicely. The once overs. Make sure they're all done. Oh, missed the spot. It's good to always look at different angles. My era I particularly like is medieval, but I like the medieval fairy tale. Yeah, because looking at the history on the real one is jacked up, so I do like the fairy tale one. But anyway, can you imagine if all that stuff existed in the fairy tale in the real world, like but it was in that particular era, that stuff all existed? Well, you're taking your life in your hands. You had no idea. You're in the woods and something pop up. It'd just be you. There, that'd be a very dangerous world. It'd be trolls and fairies. Not all fairies were good. They're evil fairies too. Oh, by the way, we're gonna take a Lipton cup of soup container, turn it into a whimsical, magical mushroom. Very easy to do. But yeah, that would be interesting. You never know what you're gonna meet on the side of the road or what's on the side of the road waiting for you. You know, it can be bandits. It can be anything waiting for you out there. You know what I mean? But take that chances. Oh man, I tell you, I got to get back to the game Fable. I got to get back to. I forgot about the werewolves. There was a section that had werewolves in it. I remember that. You had to go down here and slay that werewolf. You bump into people, they send you on the most craziest quest. I miss all that, man. I miss Fable. They need to bring another one back out. Forget all these remastered games, man. Bring us out another Fable, man. I didn't know anything about Fable until I was in there playing. I was playing Unreal Tournament. I was playing Unreal Tournament. And my buddy was playing Fable. And I'm over on his account. He's talking about, man, they took my kid. I got kids now, and I got this and that. What game are you playing? I'm thinking he's playing The Sims. And I go check into his account while he's in there playing. I'm going, oh, you playing Fable? So what the frick is Fable? He was like, man, you got to get this game. This game is crazy, man. And he's telling me all the stuff you can do. You can get a wife. You can have kids. You can get a dog. You get a dog, all that stuff. He said, man, you got to get this game. I never played Fable, the first one. I've seen it, but I didn't know they made a second version of it. So I'm like, I said, wait, Fable? Fable like on Xbox Fable? He said, yeah, this is the other version of it. I said, oh, really? He said, man, you got to get this game. It's really crazy, man. You go in the tavern, get drunk. There's all kinds of crazy stuff you can do in this game. I said, bet. So I go pick up the game. That intro was unfreaking believable. The two girls, they were poor and they were living in this little, it was like, oh no, it was like some little shack they were living in. And they had a view of the castle. And they thought to themselves, one day they were going to end up in that castle. They were just destined to be rich and be in that castle because they were peasants. At the time, peasants, they were poor. They were living out in it was around the winter time when all that was popping off. And meanwhile, there's a guy in the castle. He believed in some crazy magic. He believed that somewhere along the line, one of them had some kind of special key, some kind of power that he wanted. He had a machine to distract and take it out of him. And they went searching. If it was in a child, they went searching for this person. And sure enough, the king stumbled upon them in that little area. And they thought that was their big break. That was their big break. to become rich, to become in that castle. They were going to that castle, so excited. And that's not even a cinema. You actually do this in the game. You actually, when they first come and talk to you, you're actually talking to them in the game. And then you get in there, you take the ride over, and you're actually walking through this castle. All of that happens, and he kills your sister. Your sister dies, and he somehow, I can't remember. I gotta go back and watch the intro. But I know from when you end up falling out the window and you hit the ground and you die. You die. But you have that power because whatever comes to you tells you at the end of the day that you're a very powerful being and so forth and so forth. So it's not your time. And you end up in this little town. People are taking care of you and nursing you back to health. And the first minute you wake up, revenge. Go get this guy. But you have to go through all this crazy stuff first before you get to him. But it's actually pretty interesting. Man, that was a good game, man. I beat that game both endings, and basically got all the gargoyles. Because you got to get all the gargoyles. Capture them all, get them all. Some people in GTA got all the pigeons. How you guys did that? I don't know. I couldn't find any of those pigeons. I think I ran over one. I'm not sure. I couldn't find any of those pigeons. I had a guy in the game I was playing with. He needed somebody to help him. One of the pigeons were on Empire State Building. So he needed somebody to fly the chopper so he can shoot the pigeon. I said, oh, there are pigeons in the game. He said, yeah, it's pigeons. One had bags of cocaine. I think that was the first one. That was Grand Theft Auto 3 had bags of cocaine. And I think GTA 4 had the pigeons. No. Yeah, 4 had the pigeons in it. Because I remember I had to fly the chopper so he can get a scope on one of the pigeons that were on top of the roof. That's the last one he had to get. And he got that achievement. I never got one of those on GTA. But I know how to steal the tank in Grand Theft Auto. I know how to get GTA 3. I know how to get the tank. Tank was easy to get. Before you could even get it, before you even had the code. I had the game before you even had the codes in it. I had the game. And I remember I got that 357. That thing was amazing because you could shoot it. I hate to put it this way. I apologize for any police officers out there. But it was made so you can go to the armor. You can go right to the armor. You take them out real quick. So it's one hit, one kill. So I would get the 357. I would drive up to the mall and I would go underneath the store. So when you sit your back underneath the stores, nothing can come behind you and attack you. All the police, they wouldn't come through the front door. They would be over top of you. So when they come over top of me, would drop. Easy targets to take out. I would boost up my body armor, make sure I had enough body armor. I have a flamethrower. You have to have a flamethrower on you. And I had the 357. So as they drop down, I would shoot them until we get all the way up to around escalate to 5 stars. And the military pops up. And the minute the tank would come out, hit it with a flamethrower. You don't want to actually blow it up. You want to hit it enough to kill the driver. Once you kill the driver and get in, you got to make sure that you own the garages on the opposite side. Because everybody knows on the side of the town, the garages are bigger. You can store bigger stuff in there. And that's how I did it. But you have to make sure, when you do the game, you have to make sure you're on the second level, the second city, before you can actually take a tank. You just take the tank, drive across, so they can't stop you. You're in a tank. You're like invincible. And when you get to the garage, you park it in the garage, and that's how you get your whatchamacallit, your rating. You put the your ratings go down. You go to the garage, everything changes, come back out. It's once no stars. Yeah, and you got a tank in there. So when I betrayed the mob, and the mob wanted me dead, and I had to go back over to do something, and they were out there waiting to kill me, I took a tank with me. Because you can't touch me in a tank. Can't tank this. Yep. But that's how I did it. I would hide underneath that little, put my back against the wall because I couldn't get attacked from the back. They would just drop over the side, over the railing, and as they dropped, I would just hit them and kill them. And when I would kill them, they had ammo on them, so I constantly had ammo on me for the 357, and it would bring the stars up higher and higher. Once the stars were high, run out front and hit them with the flamethrower and get the tank and take off. It took a lot to take out a tank, and then park it over the bridge in the garage, and there you go. And I had a tank on me. And that's before you got the code, because I had the game before the codes came out. But once the codes came in, it was freaking tank, 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 tank. You're dropping tanks out of the sky. Also, do. Because you had, you can get tanks anytime you wanted to. I was like, man, forget this, man. I get in a car, I'm getting a tank. Tank didn't work in every situation. But it did work a lot. And when Vice City came out, Vice City was amazing. Because Vice City didn't have that gritty, dark look to it. Man, it had a lot of the 80s music was attached to it. All the 80s music was attached to it. It was amazing. It was freaking amazing. Now, the ending how Vice City was like Scarface. It was exactly like Scarface. That seaplane, I hated that mission. The seaplane, we had to fly around and pass out the flyers. What was the other guy? The guy you had to hire for basically the driver, you had to race his car. Oh, they gave you this crappy freaking car. Didn't even go that fast. It turned the corners wobbly. And he had this high performance car. The only reason why I was able to beat him, he glitched. He hit the tree. He got caught between the two trees, and that's how I was able to get ahead of him. It was kind of hard to beat. Hit those pink balls. He did doo 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 doo. And every time you want to hit the pink balls, but to beat him was a headache. But the only reason why I was able to beat him is he hit two trees, and that's why I was able to beat him. Well, I was by luck. I was definitely by luck, and he became your driver. That was a good one right there. Oh, and the one you got to take the helicopter and plant the bombs in the construction site. That's another headache too. There's a lot of yelling and screaming, like, "What the break, really? I got to do it again. Do it again. I got to do it again." You had to go all the way back to the beginning and get that truck with the helicopter in the back and then park it and take the helicopter out. And they had guns on it. Did they have any guns on it? I don't remember if it had guns on it. I knew they were shooting at you when you were going through there. I do know that for a fact. But that was freaking, man. But that music was amazing, man. Come on, hear the noise. Let me see. Quiet Riot. Is it Quiet Riot? It's Quiet Riot, isn't it? I think it is. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, yeah. Phil Collins had a lot of music from him on there. The Comet. The Comet was another fast car. You find that by the golf course. And then you find a buggy, you're like, huh. Driving around with a golf buggy. Oh man. I like Vice City. And the club. Oh man, the club was amazing. Everybody went to the club. Everybody went to the club in Vice City. Everybody. Being there dancing. Having a ball. So yeah, everybody had fun in the club. Vice City was just so much colorful, so much beautiful. It was so beautiful. I did like the Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto was amazing. It was. I mean, my thing was those missions. Those missions were insane. You know what I mean? You know, the guy tells you, look, you were 8-ball, and the guy tells you, look, he needs you to go down to the docks and take the guy's car. The missions were so interesting. Take his car and basically paint his car and put it in his garage. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Or the guy, you had to steal his car, you had to put a bomb in it, and you had to park it right back to where it was. You come out, and go. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I did like 4. 4 I did like. 4 I like Little Jacob. Good gracious. Jacob's freaking Jamaican was so thick, I had to put on the subtitles. I didn't understand what he was saying. But that's when you got the rocket launcher, Little Jacob. And then you had that one guy that was being stalked over in the park, and you had to follow behind him. Like, come on, honey, catch up. The other nightmare at the end of the day, that one. Oh, the guy who actually ran the cab company. He was a pain in the neck. I was glad to get rid of him. What's another one? The biker gang. Now they had the DLCs where you got a chance to play as one of the bikers. I actually beat the one with the DLC. That was amazing too. On top of that, you got a chance to go step in his shoes and see what that was like. Man, that was crazy. That was a good one. That was actually a really good one. I like that one. You get to play as a biker gang. And the one guy wants you to steal a train from him, and you steal a train to get you the golden Uzi. Yeah, it was a pretty good game. They had a lot of good. They had a lot of. I was like, how in the world could they ever top that? And then they came with GTA 5. You get to play with 3 people at the same time. Like what? And you meet Trevor. Trevor's the most craziest person. I mean, Trevor needs to have his own game. Trevor literally needs to have his own game. I hope in this GTA 6 they have somebody like Trevor, because Trevor was on his own, man. Trevor was in a world of his own. He was. Trevor was definitely different. On so many levels, Trevor was different. I hope they have somebody crazy like Trevor. We gotta have somebody crazy like Trevor. Trevor was crazy like a fox. You gotta have somebody like Trevor. And every time you would basically go back to where his world was at, he was always doing something crazy. He was half naked on the beach in his underwear. Trevor was always doing something crazy. I like Trevor's missions better. I did. Trevor met that crazy woman. And you meet the side missions. You meet some crazy people on the side of the road. Like that one woman, that crazy woman, she was crazy like a fox. And little hidden Easter eggs. If you sit up there at a certain time, you get your scope, you can see the ghost up on the rock. The one of the planes she was killed. I haven't found Bigfoot. I've never found Bigfoot in that game. Some people have found Bigfoot. Now it's funny because Red Dead Redemption, I never played it. I didn't like it. I wasn't a big fan of it. I wasn't. A lot of people loved it, and I seen some of the stuff they had in the game looked amazing, but it didn't pique my interest. It just didn't. But it looks amazing. It does. I may try one day, but it just didn't pique my interest for it. My buddy was tying people up to trains. Like, well, you put people on trains. Like, yeah, you just gotta take the time. But I just can't. My attention doesn't. My attention kind of pans out when I play it. But I'm gonna try to do it. The OE castle. The castle. We need catapults. The giant bow and arrows. We need those. Definitely need those in there. And we need a big pot kettle over the top. Basically pour scalding oil and water and stuff like that on soldiers below. We need one of those on there too. And yes, many, many cannons. Many, many cannons. Might as well. Someone else telling me if they made another. They were talking about making another Titanic, like an actual natural boat. If they do another one, would you get on? Like, nope, I'm good. I'll pass. I'll pass it. I'll pass. I'm good. I don't need to be on it. I don't do boats anyway, but still, I would not get on that thing. But it'd be magical, yeah. They thought it was gonna be magical too, and I sort of cracked in half and an iceberg. I'm good. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Nope. That's like trying to bring back the Hindenburg. You kind of asking for it. If you know what the Hindenburg was for anyway, you're not right. But anyway, so let's see, catastrophe. I'm good. I'll pass. I think when you have a horrible accident that happens like that, don't recreate the accident. Don't ask for it. Just whatever that name was or whatever happened or wreckage or whatever, just leave it where it was at. You're kind of asking for it. Just leave it where it was at. Would it be beautiful to yeah, you want to reenact the whole thing? How much of reenactment are we talking about? The whole thing? Like the whole part where the boat cracked in half? Because, man, there is just no way in the world. The people survived it was actually, it had to be insane. Because you do know, a boat of that caliber, any boat of that caliber, when they start to sink, it's something called an undertow. So that means anything that's in the radiance of that boat, when that thing pushes in, it's going to suck you down with it. Then you got the risk of being hit by objects that are coming off the boat. It's a number of things, but that undertow, when that boat starts to pull down, everything pulls down with it. Yeah, you can get caught in that undertow. Kind of hard to get out of that. So you have to clear that. You have to, never mind, they ain't got a motorboat, so they're sitting there rowing this thing out. And then there's the whole basically can't drink any of the water because the salt water will kill you. That stuff will make people mad. Can you imagine all that water and you dying of thirst? I watched that on how pirates. Actually, pirates were the ones that figured out how to make seawater drinkable. Look at the History Channel, people. People are like, oh, that's not true. Look at the History Channel. It talks about how pirates were the first ones who actually figured out how to make seawater drinkable. First, because with their freshwater, their freshwater was in barrels. You know what happens when you put water and wood together? What happens? It contaminates it, and that's what happened. When he wanted to open up that those containers to drink that water was had mold and mildew all in it because they're in wooden containers. They didn't have sealers like we had today to seal all that up to everything stays fresh and preserved. You know, at that particular area, they didn't have all that. So yeah, a lot of that water went bad, and you can't drink the water out there. So they had to figure out different ways. Now, one of us trying to use like kind of grain or sand to try to filter the water. One of the steps that actually was a breakthrough was actually charring the inside of the barrels before they would actually put in the water, and also too led to basically something involving with whiskey where they charred the inside of the barrels. A new way of actually making preserving whiskey and giving an interesting taste to it. But yeah, and then what actually one of the things that did work was silver. So their silver coins would basically preserve the. We definitely want to put pennies in it. Copper, definitely would mess it up. But silver actually preserved the water much better. So yeah, they came with all different kinds of ideas. But one of them actually, they figured out how to make seawater drinkable. Now, one of the things they were doing was basically the dew that would cast on a boat. They would collect it and clean fabrics and try to basically distract that to a bucket. Or basically when it rained, there's another thing they usually use a lot. When it rained on the ship, they had barrels out there to collect the water. But like I said, a lot of the water they collected became contaminated because it was in a wooden barrel. So they had to figure out different ways on how to not from drinking that water, because they would find boats from time to time where the crew would starve to death. From dehydration. They died of thirst. And if you drink that water will kill you. Seawater will kill you. So, no. And it didn't take long. It wasn't something like what happened like in a couple of days. It was in a matter of hours. It would kill you. So they had to find other ways. And I found that was really interesting when I was watching it. I never knew anything about that. Now I do. That's why I like to study. Because you'd be interested in the things you figure out. Find out you're smarter than what you were yesterday. A little bit more smarter than what you were yesterday. So when I go to the museum, they talk about stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, because I know my stuff at the end of the day. Because I study a lot of stuff. I find that's a fascinating. Some people may find it to be the most boring thing in the world. I find it the most fascinating thing in the world. Like, how did they do that? I find that interesting. Now you get on a cruise ship, you got refrigerators and, bottles of water. They didn't have it at one point. Come on board. So, people look at those great ships and they think at the end of the day, I wish I could be on one of those. No, the freak, you don't. Now, if you were doing something where you were doing like a little ride around, whatever, coming back the same day, that's all great. That's fantastic. But if you're doing a voyage, no, you did not want to do a voyage. Trust me, you did not want to do a voyage. It was not what you thought it was. You can have infestation of rats, disease, and then, like I said, a lot of things that went on those ships where people were trying to travel from A to B. All of them didn't make it there. Some people died, and they took them and threw them into the ocean. There was cannibalism that went on because people starved to death on the boat. A lot of the food went bad and there was nothing to eat. And then there was issues where you had rat infestation of rats. You had mutiny would pop up from time to time. You had mutiny you had to deal with. And if there wasn't mutiny you was dealing with, then you had to deal with murderers and thieves that were on that boat. So, there's a lot of stuff that went on in the boat. And trust me, today it's much better being on a boat. Oh, and I forgot. Pirates. You had to deal with pirates. which is interesting because a lot of the pirates were allowed to override the queen or king's ships for their new strategy of sailing. Some of them did meet their maker. A lot of those captains met their makers too, because a lot of these pirates are actually pretty good at governing the seas. Now today, different story now. Got the Marines sitting on a lot of these boats, and Navy, let's say officers so much. It would be Navy officers, but people, like I said, ships are a lot more better equipped now. And now pirates are basically facing 150 caliber machine gun. A little different now. But you still have pirates. Which is interesting. Navy servicemen. Sorry about that. I apologize. But anyway, yeah. But anyway. Interesting. Excuse me. Interesting. Life of a pirate. That's why they can't give you the real history. They give you the real history, like, gosh, it's the most depressing movie I ever watched in my entire life. You've got to be kidding me. Oh, that went down? Like, yep. Oh, that went down. Question: how much gold, rubies, and diamonds is buried? No one knows where it's at. A lot of these guys buried didn't have banks. They buried their rubies and diamonds and all that stuff in the earth or in some cave somewhere. A lot of ships sunk, and they have a lot of gold on them. So what happened to all of it? Where's it at? It's on the ocean floor. That's where it's at. Covered in corrosion. Part of the plant life down there. You know, building this house reminds me of the area, that's why. Cool. This is gonna be interesting. I gotta paint the other side, the hand, because I can't see it because the light's in, I can get the light over. So I have to go left hand. Whew. Very good there. Let me see. That part's done. There's no water being. Now the water. Done. Where are you? Oh no, that's in my head today. We don't need that one in there. Get that one out of there. Rewind. Do 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 do. The Brady Bunch. Sunshine Day. You have no idea how badly that can get trapped in your head. Too late. It's in there, baby. It's in there. So I have to lift this up. So I'm getting this little corner nicely. The crescent moon. Do 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 do. Crescent moon. I'll let that dry, and I'm gonna go back and trim in there with the brown. Set my brush and put that brown. This is a very fine one. I like this one right here. It's a very fine one. Get my trim, my brown in it nicely. I can put my window in. My windows in. That's why I did that one already. Got that done. That's gonna go back over with the glow. That's gonna glow. But I want the glow in blue because the windows are in yellow. Get that kind of a moon look to it. right. Every time growing, doing our getting our artwork done. One of these days, I'm gonna teach classes for kids. Only kids. Teach classes for kids. That's the best time to teach them because that's when their imaginations are insane. And they have the best ideas. Like today we're going to be designing catapult. A working catapult. Get to do it right. Doing the size of a Volkswagen in half a mile with one of them suckers. Half a mile. Catapults travel a distance. Wait, is that part of the whatchamacallit? It is part of the trim, isn't it? I didn't even think about it when I saw it. Yeah, it is part of the trim. Thank Jimmy the Crickets. This is part of the trim right here. I'm gonna just like, wait a minute. Isn't that part of the trim? It's part of the trim. Oops, gotta load my awning, but don't worry about that. I gotta be changed over to red bricks pretty soon. We have red here. I gotta mark it in some black. It's too red. It needs to be a little darker red. But that just won't work from our bricks. We got this section right here. Into the left hand now. Left hand. Ha! Yeah! The left hand. I'm having fun, people. I'm having fun doing my little build here. So, I try to discuss me, kill stress, and relax. Whew, I just missed my pants. Oh, this is funny. Shirt over there. It's a sunshine day. Let me see. I'm gonna get you over here because I know definitely the minute that which one hits it, it's gonna knock it over. Oh, come here. Over here. Pressing in the house. So waiting for it to dry. Just a little better from here. Mix this whole section over here. Get this section here. Get it out. Oops, watch that, buddy. Can I get a paint the other side of that? Here. Trying to think in between this. This is gonna have to be for the our cobblestone walk. That's gonna have to be a mixture of some green and black in there. I'm definitely have to have sprouts of grass growing through there. As soon as we come back, the glue, we start doing our our scenery. That's why I hit it by accident. I didn't mean to do it. No, we got it. This is a little tricky area in here, that's all. Other side. You have to have that work go all the way over. Can't be blue in there. It's gonna throw off the design. That's better. All right. Oh. Let's get this right. Yeah, we got some of the house. I'm not worried about it. We have to go back over there. Anyway, this is getting started. I should have did that first. Got those little corners that way better. And you're doing all this for a screen. Yeah, for a screen. Kind of like this when I do my work and my props. I take my props very seriously. I'm showing off new technology. Right now, I'm not interested in showing off any new technology. I'm more concerned about right now hoping this whole thing is taken care of, because again, you know, I can't think knowing that someone else is not out there eating. So I just wanna, this keeps me stress free. That's why I'm doing it, because it keeps me stress free. Paint my little houses. So give me another one when I get done with this one. Let's get that area right in there. Now we can go and trim it up. And smacking people. I gotta look that up. Who started smacking people with gloves? You have insulted my honor. Smack. Smack you with a glove. Oh man. I tell you, I have a little weight in my gloves. I have a little weight in it. Just a little weight. Little brass knuckles. So like, bam. And I'm not slapping you this, but I slap you upward. I'll be known for slapping people outward. Like, yeah. dare you disrespect my honor? He said I was a phony. A phony, you say? And turn around, just walk away, and the train goes right across your face, like challenge you. 10, 10 to the 10 paces at dawn. You know how this is going to go down, right? We've had this conversation before, right? We all know how this is going to go down, right? And you already know. You, sir, have no honor, but I'm alive, ain't I? I'm the one that initially started it. Well, I didn't start it. I started the whole smack with the glove. So how dare you disrespect my honor? We're like, see that guy right there? Mm-hmm. So anyway, I was over there witnessing. He had a fight, a duel at dawn. He used a cannon. Cannon? What do you mean cannon? There was a guy off the shore, battleship. Took the guy completely out with a cannon blast. There was one, basically, he had a guy shot a man with a long rifle from a tree. It's unbelievable. I think he's thinking of new ways just to execute people. Hey, I cheated doing. And you know, ain't no way you're going to take me out. It's not going to happen. There's no way in the world. And then feel like you have no honor. Yeah, but I'm alive at the end of the day. Nobody wants to fight me because they know that I fight dirty. So nobody dare want to challenge me on anything whatsoever because they know I fight dirty. I mean, once you blast somebody from a cannon off on a ship, you take somebody. That's the end of it. That's the haymaker of all haymakers. At the end, they're like, a ship? Yes. And pay the captain like a night before that in the tavern. Like, look, I need to do me a favor. I got to duel this guy early in the morning. So if you do me a favor, I'll pay you in gold, whatever. Just sit up there on the shore, and when you see him, and I do something like put my arm up in the air, just take him out. A cannon. You're talking about with a cannon. Unbelievable. No one now would challenge me. No one. It'll go down in history. I would literally be in the history books. Kenneth Bird once took a man out on the shores with a cannon from an artillery ship. Yep, I'll go down in history for that one. You know. And that famous quote, I'm still alive, ain't I? That would be the famous quote of the day. I'm still alive, ain't I? Alright, couldn't care less about your freaking honor. That's how it was back then. You had to have that honor, money speaks more before honor. I guarantee that. They dealt business with pirates. They dealt business with all types of people at the end of the day back then. Money, honor wasn't too much. It was money. Money, money, money. It was all about money. You could be the worst, most despicable human on the face of the planet. But if you had money, they didn't care. You could pay for things they don't have. Which is jacked up. I've seen that now. Yeah, that's how it was. They did business with all types of people. Yeah, some people did have honor. You know, they wouldn't say people like that. But majority of most, it was money. Money and power, that's what it was. That's what it came down to. And you were forced to marry somebody you didn't want to marry because it was about money and power. Like arranged marriages? I don't know. That's interesting. I sort of rather choose who I want to be. And I want to get married at all. I want to be left alone. How about that? At that particular time, you know, when you had those kings and queens and stuff, you had to marry into royalty. You had to. You had to marry into royalty. It had to happen. You were going to do it whether you liked it or not. You just have to go to love that person. That's what you're going to have to do. Wow. Like, really? Like, yep. You marry that person. Don't even love them. Some of these women were very, very young, too, at that. Very, very young. He married off to some older man. Jacked up stuff went on in history. There we go. Now we got the crescent moon put in. So that window right there is something else. That's something else window. That's a something else window. Crescent moon. Do. Just gonna put my window in there now. Lucky Lakes. The Lucky Lake. Guaranteed to catch a fish at the Lucky Lake. We're going to call it the Lucky Lake. Once I get it finished and ready to paint it in. I actually have to paint it in. The Lucky Lake. The Lucky Lake. In the whimsical cottage. And we have to write a story on it. Right. Like that, you won a brand new car! Yeah! Hey, stop your lungs. Cindy Williams, come on down! You're the next contestant for The Price is Right! Who's the first person bet $1? $1. Let's say $1. And that person won too. $1. I'll get how that one even works. $1. Some of the shows were rigged. They had did a movie on that. Some quiz show. Quiz show, that's what it's called. Quiz show. It was rigged. Guy wearing his headset. The guy was talking to him. No whammy. No whammy. No whammy. No whammy. Let's watch all those game shows. Jeopardy. Wheel of Fortune. Jeopardy had them brainiacs on there, man, on Jeopardy, man. You had to know some that brainiac. A lot of people were smart on Jeopardy. Jeopardy's actually interesting. Man, I had to be a little bit more smart on Jeopardy. What is the capital of North Carolina? Family Feud. I like Family Feud. I like that one. Survey says. Ooh, you got a little paw there. Wow. What is a tabby cat? A cat? With Jeopardy on freaking, oh my goodness, on SNL. Oh my goodness, they give them the most easiest answer and they still manage to mess up. What is a cat? Is it A, a cat, B, a cat, C, same as the other one, a cat, and they'd be like, dog. Elephant, chicken, rooster. Oh my goodness. The color orange is orange. Right? When you write down pink, blue, purple, yellow, it'd be all the different colors. Like, seriously. Oh my goodness, man. That's just the craziest question. It'd be negative $1 million. It'd be insane. Nobody wins on there. Oh my goodness. The other guy, Sean Connery's always going to back and forth with him. Oh my goodness. That was a funny one to watch right there, I'll tell you. What sound does a dog make? He said, somebody said, the words we're looking for is something, and whoop. That's the sound your mother made last night. I was sad and ruthless. Yeah, freaking Sean Connery was funny. And the other one they had, oh man, Smokey and the Band. I can't think of his name. The guy, he was always on it too. He was chewing the gum. That's what the coupling all the time. The giant cowboy hat on. It's hilarious. Can't think of his name. Burt Reynolds. There you go. Man, it was always going in. Alright, I'm happy with this. That's my trim right there. I can at least put my windows in, and I gotta put the glow in too. Glow. I do the glow. Thank goodness the glow is clear. It's a clear glow. So whatever you paint actually glows. And we got a lot of flowers to put up there, a lot of flowers and stuff like that. And interesting, the flowers are going to be a little bigger than, not a bigger, but they're going to be shown that it's a good size as we want enchanted flowers. So I want the flowers to be a little bit larger, like the ones we have over here, but not too big. So it looks like this is enchanted. And then all the flowers have to be painted so they glow in the dark. So it's going to be pretty interesting. All right, well, hope you enjoyed. Thank you for your time, for coming out and watching. Y'all have a wonderful and safe day. And yeah, I hope it all works out, to tell you the truth. So like I said, put your trust in God, pray about it. You know what I mean? Everything will work out. It'll work out. We've been through rough and crazy stuff. We always have. We've been through crazy stuff. We'll get through it all. But anyway, with that being said, hope you enjoyed. Thank you for coming in and watching. Got to go, and God bless.